Hello, American Patriots. Douglas Ducote here. It is that time to once again talk about the Muller investigation and the Russia collusion and the little twist that it's recently taken that some of you may or may not have heard about. It's not been one of the twists has not been as on the front burner as I think it should be. And that involves journalist and author Jerome Corsi, who I've interviewed in the past on Real World Witness radio show, along with my co-host, Chrissy Piccolo. And the other is Roger Stone. Now, the Roger Stone piece is getting a little more news than Dr. Corsi's is. I think more so because he's been a more visible face throughout many presidencies and other forms of people running for office, different federal, state, local entities. But first, as I'm sure most of you know that follow me, I believe that the Mueller investigation is a complete and total witch hunt. It's just another one of those, something where Trump can do nothing right in the Democrats' minds and the far-left liberals' minds. And they go after him, they go after his family, they go after anybody associated with him, doing everything in their power to bring him down. Yet, they can't seem to come across that piece of evidence that will destroy the man. What's to come of the Mueller investigation in the final days? What will actually happen when it's released? Don't know. I can't predict that. I put absolutely nothing right now past the Democrats. So let's talk about the twist that just recently took place. Mueller's investigators interviewed Dr. Jerome Corsi several times about his connection with Trump and Russia collusion. And he now has stepped forward and through Judicial Watch has filed a complaint, which will basically become a lawsuit, I believe, at the rate it's going, against Mueller's team for trying to, in his words, and the people that were with his team when he was interviewed, coerce him into saying things about Donald Trump that were not true. He basically is accusing them of trying to twist his words in statements and get him to go against Trump with false information. Okay, that is as illegal as it could possibly get from a special prosecutor. And whoever was involved in this should immediately be terminated and removed from the case. And an investigation looked into what they did do. No different than going back to, the FBI people that were on the Mueller team, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok that were just out to get Trump. It appears this group of investigators are doing the same thing by trying to get Dr. Corsi, to say something that was not factual information about President Trump and his knowledge of them. So we will see how this complaint comes out in the next few days. A lot of it's going to be kind of buried in the news because of President Bush's death, and that's topping the news on all the channels right now, all the networks for the funeral and so forth. But I'm going to stay on top of this because, Dr. Corsi, like I say, I've interviewed him before, I've had conversations with him before, and I believe what he's saying. I believe what what him and his team are saying that the Mueller team attempted to get him to do. The next one would be Roger Stone, all right? I've also had the opportunity to talk with Roger Stone, and have met Roger Stone in person. We have attended events together. Roger Stone has also been interviewed by the Muller team. And although he's not filing any type of a lawsuit or a complaint at the moment against the Muller team, he has made it very clear that in some of the things he was questioned about and some of the ways that the Mueller investigation team members tried to steer the conversation, that they were trying to get him as well to falsify information. And he came right out and tweeted and said, look, I will have no part of testifying and saying something against President Trump that is based on falsehoods. Won't do it. It's not going to happen. Trump then turned around and tweeted that back out. And the Democrats have gone 51-50 out in left field with this. And some of the big headlines of the moment that are just blowing me away. Trump's latest tweets cross clear lines, experts say. Experts say this. Obstruction of justice and witness tampering. So they believe that by Trump saying that he supports Roger Stone's decision not to lie about him, that borders a criminal offense, and therefore also borders going for impeachment. That's about as silly and as stupid as it gets, my friends. Senator Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, called it serious, adding that the President of the United States should not be using his platform to influence potential witnesses in a federal investigation involving his campaign. Well, sir, that's not what he did. He wasn't influencing anyone. He was just repeating what they already said, and that is that the investigators tried to get him to lie about the man. I believe that we, the people, would like to know that information. But Democrats would like to keep it hush-hush and undercover and not let you know what's really happening. George Conway, for those of you that don't know who that is Kellyanne Conway's husband. I've also had the opportunity to meet Kellyanne Conway. I've had conversations with her about a lot of different issues, from veterans issues to political issues. I met her in person up in Washington, D.C. about 2 months ago. He, although is a registered Republican, as Kellyanne is very anti-Trump. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that household, because he recently has said some things that are just borderlining Divorce City, when he claims that everybody in the Trump administration are just all fake and it's a forest and they're all, bad people. He's saying his wife is that. She is the number one counselor to the president. So he said, he referenced federal statute most likely to create legal liability for Trump is 18 U.S.C. 1512, which outlines the crime of witness tampering. Tampering with a witness is obstruction of justice. It's a federal crime for an individual to intimidate, threaten, or corruptly persuade another person with the goal of influencing or preventing his or her testimony. Once again, George Conway, as with Senator Mark Warner, that's not what the man did. Okay? Look, we don't care if you get up and actually talk facts about what Trump said or didn't say or tweeted or didn't tweet. But when you twist those words to make it look like what he did was a criminal offense, then that makes you a criminal, because it's libel, it's slander. It's not true. You know it's not true, but you're an anti-Trumper, so therefore you're going to say silly shit like this. And I wish you people would just get it together and get off of this, all right? If the Mueller team comes out and says we found no Russia collusion between Trump and the Russians, what's going to happen then? Then you're going to say Mueller is this horrible person who didn't do a proper investigation, and, the hell with him. But yet, if he does come out and say what you want him to say, then you're going to praise him. So it doesn't matter one way or the other, all right? Whatever is in the best interest for you guys, the Democrats and the liberals, far-left liberals, to make the president look bad is what you're going to side with. Look, this whole Russian thing, it's been going on for 2 years now, all right? And they've yet to prosecute anyone or tie anyone to Donald Trump and Russia collusion. None. Zero. Have they indicted some people? Have they got people to come on board and testify on certain things that have happened that have nothing to do with Russia collusion? Yes. It goes back to the Starr investigation back during Whitewater, okay, in the Nixon administration. It's the same thing. They couldn't get exactly what they wanted and what they were looking for, but they were getting other little pieces of things that were, what can I say, that were more damning and more damaging to Nixon in the long run. And when they got a hold to the tapes, that became a major ordeal, okay? Look at the Clinton situation when Bill Clinton was president. That was Starr, I'm sorry. During Nixon was not Starr, that was a different prosecutor going after the Whitewater situation. But with Starr, once again, they were trying to pin him down on one thing, found out about Monica Lewinsky and another thing, and that investigation went completely off rails and into other avenues and started looking at other people and other things that tied back to Bill Clinton. So, I personally, look, I'm all for law enforcement and investigators doing their job and having the leeway while they're doing their job if they were able to find another crime to go forward with that. All right? But when you're only doing that to bring someone down because you dislike them and their politics and the type person they are or the things they say, or you dislike the people that voted for them. In a lot of cases, we've heard that in public. They think that we're all nuts and we're crazy and we're these really bad people that are going to hell for voting this man in. When your agenda is just that, to bring down this person, so you start looking at everything else you possibly can because what you were originally looking at isn't there, then I got a problem with that. Okay? Then that's not okay. 2 years of going into other things that have nothing to do with Russia collusion. That's a problem in my mind. All right? That's my own personal opinion. Just like everything that I talk about on my YouTube channel is my own personal opinion based on my experience in life and education. So that's what I wanted you to know. Hopefully you're paying attention to some of this. Like I say, it's going to be difficult for you to turn on the news and hear any of this, even on Fox, about what's happening with Muller and Dr. Corsi and Roger Stone when it comes to President Trump, because of the funeral that's happening. That's going to dominate everything for the remainder of this week. But I will stay on top of this because I know these two people, And I believe in these two people. And I do believe that the Mueller investigation is nothing but a witch hunt in a forest. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our president, and our country. Hope you each have a wonderful and blessed day. And for now, I'm Douglas Ducote, and I'm out. Oh, after I take a sip out of this coffee from my latest and new mug. Take care, folks.